Hi guys, another video for today with some of my rollers, and I got this interesting new stain. So it's ultimate stain. You guys can see, and I got curious. I always get curious. That one's redwood, that one's weathered gray. These colors over here are really pretty mountain stream. Instead of mixing. But they've got just a little bit of a softish, muted tonality to them, which I really like. I'm mixing up some, still got more mixing to do. But yeah, so I figured I would try this out. And another thing I've been wanting to bring up or do a little quick video on is the difference in jumbo, XL, and small. So basically I designed them at the XL, that's my base model, and then I crunch them down and print them at a smaller ratio for the small, and I jumbo size it, bring the ratio up for the jumbos. So these guys are a total of about 6 inches. Pattern surface is a little over 5.5, it looks like. These are 4 inches tall, so 3 3/4, and 2 3/4 tall, so about 2.5 inch height. But the other big difference, let me go ahead and zoom in for you. Oh, that's awfully far. There we go. Is the depth. So because it's scaled up, when we go to the bigger sizes, everything, all the little details are just deeper. So let's find the same spot on that one. So those are the same 2 flowers. And you can see how they're just a little bit deeper. Now let's find the same 2 flowers on this guy. So you can see the difference in the depth. So for the fun of it, I'm going to try this jumbo. And this is the embossing, by the way. I don't have the debossing over here, and I just happened to print myself out one of these on jumbo because someone ordered it. I'm like, that's really cool in jumbo, so I printed me one too. So I've got, zoom back out. I've got a big old piece of clay. The colors I'm playing with today, of course, there's a little spot of some other color there. It's white mixed down with, so it's regular Sculpey white, Primo white, and then I mix it down with a chunk of latte, and I'm not kidding, it's like a sliver this big to a big chunk of white. So it's probably like a 10-to-1 ratio or something. It's a lot more white. And I got about halfway through mixing it. This was the color I was more or less trying to make. And I got halfway through mixing. I'm like, you know what? I kind of like that little stridation and the bit of tonality in there too. So I'm going to leave that because we're going kind of rustic and we're staining it when we're done. So I kind of wanted to leave that. Yeah, so scoot those out of the way. Going to burnish this down. And I don't usually work with jumbo. By the way, this is rolled out at a 0. And then I folded it back over on itself because I wanted it kind of double thick because I want to make sure I get the full expression of that roller into it. So it's a really thick slab. It's probably about 4 millimeters thick. So my intricate design rollers at the XL are usually about 2.25 millimeters deep. So when I scale it up to the jumbo, it's probably closer to 3 millimeters deep. It's probably about, what am I deep? I probably have a deep something here. There we go. So the deepest point is that little butterfly body. And I'd say that's probably comparable to the deepest points here. So it's probably about 3 millimeters deep for a jumbo. So I want probably about 4 millimeters of clay. Okay, guys. Maybe I do have a roller. I have a roller for that too. Hold on. I just don't have one in my own personal stash. So, yeah, printed them up for the Gigantors. Holy crap, that's huge. All right, I need to, as always, get it wet. Do not roll anything through without some sort of release agent. So either dust your clay with baby powder. Oh, cornstarch is what y'all like to use. Dust with cornstarch, or I use water. I usually just have a damp sponge. That's a soaking wet sponge. I just cleaned my bin out, so my sponge is extra wet because I refilled it. You could spritz the clay, you could spritz the roller. There's a bunch of different ways to do this. Man, this thing is a monster. Holy crap. I'm used to tiny rollers. Okay, so, and I want to make sure I get full deep on this. Man, that's hard to get enough weight behind it. All right, pressing it in. There we go. This really is one of the prettiest patterns. Oh, yay. That took some muscle. All right, let's zoom in. Let's see how that came out. So because it's a mix of white and the beige, latte, anywhere I got almost a cut into it, you start seeing the white through it. So that's already one of my favorite ways to semi-colorize something that you're not wanting to do a whole lot with. As far as finishing elements, like if you just want the texture without much else, you can start to mix something until it gets really thin and almost mixed, and it leaves just that littlest bit of like crisp to the edges. I'll do a video on it one of these days, but you can kind of see the white starts to show up more through the edges than it does on the top because that stretched the color a little bit more and let some of it through. But yeah, so this is absolutely gorgeous. Now, can I get to the in-between size? Why not? Oh, well, sorry. Maybe let me, nope. It won't let me choose a 2. There's the button. Sorry, y'all. Okay, that's a better. I like it there. So, part of me wants to stain some of it before I cut it. Part of me wants to cut a few out and see how it stains after it's baked. So, let's cut a couple out for the staining after, and then we'll stain a few during. And what kind of shape is this leaning towards? Oddly, I've been doing circles lately, which is unusual for me. I'm not seeing circle there. I've been doing dome circles. That's what's been fascinating me lately. I have a funky idea. All right, just bear with me. That's too big. Let's go there. Okay. So started playing with these. Yes, Sweetie Bijou makes a set of them. Hers is epic. Mine, if I sell them, are not going to be as good as hers is because I'm not putting that much work into development. But I've been wanting to make something like this for myself for the longest time. So what I am curious about is if we are to leave some of this cut out and say, man, that's so deep, like you can just feel it. I want to include some of those flowers. I don't want to include the ones down here. I'll include the ones down here because that's a little more out of the way. Okay, and press through. Yeah, I got tired of trying to line up my centers with my outer cutters, and then I've been kind of toying with something along these lines for the longest time, and I just hadn't figured out exactly how I wanted to set it up. But then I kind of started playing with it in the programming and got it worked out where it lets me use either the cross member or a straight line and set my pieces. Okay, so this will be one of the ones that gets pre-baked. Let me roll up. And then I'm actually going to do one more of just the center. Ooh. In case I decide I want to do a set of earrings to go with. That's really cute. That's so much better than that. I'm going to make it a match. What are you guys barking at each other for? Y'all don't need to do that. Okay. Don't go peeling up flower petals. Oh, Lacey. Hold on. Let me go settle my mama down. Sorry about that, guys. I've got a mama with puppies in the house, and she's the queen of the house. So, she is not very happy about being stuck on maternity watch. And me not being there. Hi, what's the matter, Lizzie? I go check on things when she says something needs to be checked. Because she's too fat and dealing with babies to deal with it. Guys, why are you all wrestly all of a sudden? Just because that mama dog got feisty does not mean you all need to be crazy. It's not the game we need to play. All right, I'm going to get you guys a little wider up. No, wrong way. One. I need to put this on another one so we can play with the stain first. And I've actually got a nice little scrap it there. So I think I might start with that and just see what the stain does. And these are the pieces I'm going to go throw in the oven. So that will be a little bit. At the moment I got something else in the oven. I use a toaster oven, so I don't have absolute capacity for more. My cutter's back like a good girl. Go back where you all belong. You all have places to be. Okay. Organization is my friend. Because it's not my nature. Nature is not organized. Okay, so I've got this tiny Davis pick that we're going to start with and just see what these colors do. And because this teal is epic, probably going to use it. I'm a little tempted on some of these purples. I'm going to end up trying everything, aren't I? Get a whole bunch of shaking up. Oh my goodness. Okay, I'm getting somewhere. No, I like that right too. All right. Yeah, that's green. That's pretty. Let's see. These two don't want to release. Those look pretty good. These two need a little more shaking. Sorry, guys. You know how I work. I never stay with the same decision long enough to prep anything. Because you know, whatever colors I shook up before the video would have absolutely been changed by the time I got to turn and press and record. Alright, don't want any of these brown types. This. That one's really good. That might be really good too. Holy smokes. Alright, mostly all mixed up. Alright, so these are the colors I pulled out. Try out. Wow, that elderberry's dark. That light looks like it needs to get mixed into it. Alright, so sun bleached. That's pretty. And faded lavender. And mountain stream. Turquoise vein. That's really pretty. And this purple is plum. The green is primitive green. And then walnut. And that elderberry color. So that's kind of the tonality I was wanting to start with. Yeah, I love the earthiness of these colors. And the things the set does have. If you buy the whole set, it's got some bright here. I'll show you. Find them. It's got some bright fluorescence, including day glow colors called day glow. So I'm assuming those are going to be intense, and I put those separate because that's one mood, and this is another. This is today's one. So let's just kind of see. I'm thinking these lighter colors might not give me much, but I'm curious. So do you guys come open? Yep. You're thicker than I expected. I may end up wanting a brush with that. Oh, where's wet brush? You're a wet brush. Let's just start. So try brushing with the wet brush. Looks like it'll work. By wet brush, I just mean the brush that I use for wet things, not one that I plan on using for my. Well, that in itself is just really pretty. Assuming that's that lavender. Just the tiniest bit of this purple. Let's see how that settled in. There was wanting to set in pretty nicely and just kind of follow the grooves. I have a feeling in order to get it all in deeply enough to matter, you probably are going to have to paintbrush it. Curious. You spray. Ooh, it is water soluble. So, oh, there, we found the work. That's how we make it do what we want it. All right, so I want to check out this turquoise vein. So I am just going to treat it like alcohol inks, but water-based alcohol inks to go there. You are kind of thick. You're fun. I'll touch this walnut. And then I'm going to go spritz. I have new favorite stuff. Okay. Did you join in? Ooh, yes. Okay. So, yeah. I think I'm going to just leave that to dry. Let's see what it does. I'm not going to mess with that big piece yet because I want to see what my trials come out like, what this does, and if there's any kind of funky reaction or something. So I'm just going to set this aside, and once this dries up and is no longer wet, then I will come back with you guys and we'll figure out what other games we can play here. And I'll try to get those other guys baked up so that we can play with it on a already baked surface too. I might swap out what's in the oven. All right, I will be back shortly so that we can play this out because this is fun. Alrighty, so these are baked and it came out really, really, really cool. So I've got a handful of these to play with. There we go. So yeah, again, the jumbo roller, that's got a lot of depth to it. These really stand out nicely. Very, very, very cool. And then this is dry. And it started getting taken over by the dark color. So I put one more dollop of that teal in the middle and then just let it dry out. This one, I don't think I sprayed it down as much, maybe. It looks like a little bit more of it stayed up, but it doesn't seem to want to come off, and these are still raw clay. So I'm going to go ahead and just take a cutter to this, maybe circle-ish, if that'll fit. What are you guys fussing about over there? Next size down, I think, is too small. Oh, that is kind of pretty. Don't know what I'd do with it that small, though. Let's do this instead. Just gonna go like that. My dogs are wound tonight. I'm gonna leave it like that. That's a kind of cute shape. And I'm assuming that will just make a color. All right. And then doesn't seem to have been, oops, yeah, doesn't seem to have been extra messy on my cutters, so that's nice to see. And yeah, so that'll work to put that in the oven. And this one, they will use that little just kind of want to see what these end up doing. So go ahead and pop a little circle on that one. That's going to be a little crazy, but there's scrap. Okay, scrap pile. So I'm actually going to go ahead and just do them on a piece of cardstock rather than putting a whole tile back in because I won't be resining. Won't likely be resining. These are already so thick. I might not have needed a full 00. I probably could have gotten away with the maybe 001 or 002. I don't know, but let's see. I'm going to widen that out. So I will chuck those in the oven real quick. And that goes. Michi, come here, buddy. Hi, Gary. What'd you bark at? Michi, come. You don't need to bark. Right, I'm going to chuck those in the oven. Hi, buddy. Where's my Michi? Michi, you don't need to do all the yelling at everybody. Why'd you barking? Where's all the barkings? You guys are crazy tonight. A terrible timing to do a video, huh? Y'all are still wound up. I didn't get to it all day, and I've been dying to try this out. So, all right. So where I'm at next is I did go ahead and I did go ahead and run a couple of slabs of all three depths. So we still have the one from the jumbo, and that's the 4-inch extra large, and that's the small. So let's go ahead and zoom. So the depth is still really nice on that, even for being the smallest one. But because the whole thing scales down, the depth is nice and appropriate to the scale. And that's the extra large. Again, I left that with a more smear to the pattern. And then that's the jumbo. So see the size and the scaling difference and the depth difference. That's most of what I wanted to point out and do in the video with these was how much that changes and what a difference that makes having the different sizes. All right, so now do we want to tone it wet or pre-cooked? I kind of want to do it pre-baked. Oh, actually, let's try this first. Something like all right, let's mess with these guys. And I have to shake these all up and all over again. So the colors I used the last time was this turquoise vein, was so pretty. And was the Sunbleached? Sunbleached, I think was the other color I liked. Or maybe it was walnut. Oh yeah, Sunbleached was really light. I wonder if we want to spritz these first. I kind of think so, maybe. Yeah, it's pretty tone group. I don't know if that'll actually lighten this up or not. It might. And I do have a white and a black also if I want to get. Oh, there's one more I really wanted to try was that elderberry purple. I think that'll have a nice little touch mixing with these. Get that all mixed up. All right, and then I need my spray bottle. So let's start with this blah one. That was the center from our. Now I'm going to spritz it first just to get it wet so that the stain's more likely to move. And then I'm going to put a dollop of the lightest color. So that's that Sunbleached color. And that's just going to give us something light for that to mix into. There we go. Give it a little splooge. And then I'm going to just tiniest little splooge of this brown. Walnut. And from there I'm going to spritz because I want it to move. Run! Go. So that's where those two colors mix together, which is nice. I'm very wet there. I'll let some of that color run off because I don't want the brown to overtake the lighter colors. Oh, perfect. Oh, wow. Yeah, that's nice. You know what? Let's go with that dark and see what happens. Holy smokes. That is more of a indigo than a purple, it looks like. Oh, spritzing it everywhere. Ah, run away! That is really amazing though what that does. So now what if I go in with light? That's kind of cool. Just a touch of blue in the corners. Alright, I'm going to set that aside and just let it dry. I really do like that. Guys, shush! It's not quite the color type I want to go with for the full set. I'm thinking I really like that effect of the brown Go and zoom out so we can, just don't want the zoom in between. There we go. That's a good zoom. All right, set that off to the side. And then I want to, I'm not going to use the elderberry because I think that turns too dark. And I want to give it just a little bit of this lightning effect. And then a touch of the walnut. Just on like one corner or another. Okay. And then put this turquoise vein in here. And then let's go with the spritz. Oh, must be about a loss of time. Mix colors. I like the way the colors like to just kind of claim their own space a little bit. Touch more brown there, and then I like the mix of the two. So yeah, I'm gonna call that good also. I don't know if I want to leave it on paper towel. I guess so. Leave it on paper towel and scoot it out of our way. All right, and then so do we do a few more after? I think the color colored just as nicely before. So let's cut a few more shapes out and then we'll come back and do it after. So these guys, that kind of follows all those big pretty flowers. So I'm just going to do it just like that. Oh, Elvis. Elvis, come here, buddy. There's one slab of a, I'm not going to make earrings to match on this. I might try to get something to match from over here. Hi, you want to come in? Go get Elvis in. You coming, Elvis? Come. Oh, you too, huh? No. All right. All right. It's fine. Thank you. You guys are very good little alarms. You're very good watch it system. All right. That is very pretty. And what next? What kind of shape can we get here? Elvis. Elvis, honey. You just bark to hear yourself make noise, don't you, sometimes? I'm going to move that away from this because I don't want to mess it up. And I kind of want that whole long bit of flowers there. And then I'm going to call that scrap. I need more of that cream color anyway. All right, and then let's go with this next one down. And I do that again. There's a nice little string of flowers that go a long ways here. Okay. Hi, Elvis. Yes, I love you, Elvis. Oh, whoops, I did miss just the littlest bit there. So what I'm going to do here is line it up, top, and shorten it back some. Sorry, guys. I got all camera, didn't I? Running out of room. That's Elvis's daughters. Yes, I said Elvis. I did. Did you bring me a toy or are you just going to bark at me? You want to come up, come say hi to the camera? Come here. Come here. Here, you can visit Miss Elvis. Oh my goodness. They are too hungry. Lacey. When the girls have puppies, man. Lacey, come. Come here. Do I need to come check your babies? Are you okay? Lacey. Yeah, new moms. Mama drama. All right. Oh, why did I put those away? I like those. Okay, so there's... I really like this. Like I said, this depth feels normal for jewelry to me. Those are a little extra deep, but it's a very pretty effect. Just not what I'm used to. But I like it a lot. And then let's go ahead and maybe do another one of those hollow circles here. It's pretty big, but if it's going hollow, yes, that'll let me bring out. Is that too hollow? Take out some of the best flower, but that might be too small. Yeah, let's do it with this one. Doesn't look like if I do it with the other one. I don't know if I can keep tons of those flowers in there or if I'm going to lose them no matter what. This is just the tiniest bit. Here all I know it looks. There you go. So again, when I design these, this is one of my earlier designs, and when I design these, I am typically thinking polymer clay jewelry. So the scaling on jewelry, I think this is a better scale than the other. I think I'm not sure if I want to dome this too. So I think that means I'm going to want to color it now and not bake it until it sets up. So I'll let the color sit and then I will bake it on dome. So I'm thinking that's what I want to do there. It looks like there's just enough room here. We could definitely get another one of those little circles to match that. And again, this size and weight feels like something that would make, there you go, make earrings. Where the others thick for earrings. I'm not saying it's not fine, it will work. But it's just a little thicker than I'm used to thinking about using. And this is not quite enough to make a shape out of, I don't think so. Back in the scrap pile. And then now we have this one. I definitely want to do a pair of earrings to go with that. I'm going to zoom you all out one more, just so, oh, wrong way. Zoom, there we go. So that I'm not losing you half the time. And let's see. So I want something that goes with that long shape. I often use these. Let's Just go. One. And I could have also colorized the whole section of this and then cut it out, but I think we'll be all right doing it this way. And that way I get to keep my scraps as a single color rather than it being a pile of painted mush. Speaking of which, I almost mixed, nope, I didn't. All right, I thought I almost mixed my painted mush into the clean color. That would have been funny. All right, so they're just set like that. And then is there anything else I want to do with this in particular? Let's see. Probably go with that size. Trying to make sure all the way. There we go. And one of the other things I like to do is go slightly slimmer and the shape slightly. Oh my goodness, you guys are so revved up today. Who's wrestling what? You guys are killing that monkey pretty good, aren't you? Yeah. So I'm going to go with the tall ones because it lets me get a little bit bigger earring without being quite so chunky as that. And those go there. And I had a lot of flowers in it. Let me scoot you on a little bit further. Trying to make sure we're not somewhere where we end up cutting into anything else. Okay, there you go. So that makes a nice matched set. And it looks like there's just enough. I could cut out one more set or something. I'm out of space to put it on this tile. Cut it on the other one and bring it back over. Let's just go with that more narrow. Like that. And then again that pair of earrings. Alrighty. There's enough. Alrighty. So that, and that. I didn't end up making earrings for that. I might just kidnap a set from another set or not finish any of this jewelry like I usually do. Anyone else have that problem? You just get so obsessed with the making of the new things that the old stuff just gets left in a corner somewhere? I do. That's always the next thing. I even have a handful of half-done videos that I just forgot where I was at. So they're still sitting elsewhere. All right, so colors now. Do we want to stay all the same colors? I'm really fond of that blue. I like this. I like the earthiness of it. And I want to mix this little bit of lavender in. I didn't get the chance to try the actual purple, did I? And I want to mix some baby blue. Got a bunch of this. It's more on the pastel tones. Like that one. That one's really pretty too. Primitive green, I call that. That's pretty. And this one's really kind of, looks like it's going to give me a good earthy green. I think I kind of stick earthy tones. So that one green went too pastel. The purples are a little too intense. I actually do like that indigo purple. That was really pretty, but it's a little too chartreuse. And then the other tones are a little too red. I definitely am sticking with these guys then. And do I want to add a dollop of touch of that? Yeah, why not? Okay. And a touch of the, let's add a touch of the bright blue too. You can always tone it all down with this little sun bleached color. Yeah, that's good too. All right, so let's start with some of these brighter colors on the flower areas. All right, let's get all of our blues in a row. Touch of the green in there. All right, and then let's throw that fabulous blue in there. Give a little light spritz. That's wet. I don't know if I want to use anything else now. What are you guys fussing about down there? Michi. My little midget boy. Yeah, I want to earthy it up a little. All right, so just touches of this brown here and there. Well, it's easy enough to clean up if you get it somewhere you don't want it. That's pretty. Should be doing this with a piece of watercolor paper and save it for later. Okay. I almost want something to help be a little more directional with it, kind of a little more like alcohol inks and using a straw or something. I'm getting so much water. Water everywhere. So, too much wet around this one. Why is that hazelnut? And I lost my color there. So, more. Any of this in here now. Oops. Water bottle. I almost want a little dollop of water, just like I've got these guys. No, it still drips it too far. Still making messes. Just a touch more turquoise. Yes, Phoenix. You're very cute. My brown gold. Okay, I'm thinking that my preference is to add a dash of the stain once the area is already full of wet. So like this one's not quite wet enough. There you go. Where it's already wet, it travels really well. It's easy to add too much wet. It's just too in there. Come on, there you go. Dash brown there. Dry spot on my paper towel up. Don't touch the piece. Just soak the water up. There we go. Okie dokie. This one's still just a little odd. Alright, I think I'm liking. So it really is, again, amazing the difference in all the details because of the heights. Yeah, the intricacy of the pattern. So on most of these that are the smallest, the colors blend a lot more because they can run together a lot easier. The extra large are poppier, where the relief pops off of it a lot more. And then these with the jumbo, the details are like blah. It's really fascinating. I like it a lot. And then these guys are starting to dry over here. I'll show you. Not all the way dry yet, but we're getting there. Those are really pretty. Okay, changed my mind again. I like the elderberry a lot. Let's put a dollop of that into one set. So what is a set? Let's do it in set. Yeah, that's got too much blue anyway. Ooh. Yeah. I think I'm gonna like that. I think that's done. I'm gonna stop. So, as an artist of any sorts, one of the hardest parts about playing artists is stopping. Just stop. You're done. It's enough. No more playing. Oh my goodness, I could just totally go in and ruin all of this. I really like that with that elderberry color in there. All right, flip this guy over because I want that to dry completely. And I don't want to accidentally forget what I'm doing and shove it in the oven with the rest of them. And the oven just dinged. So I'm going to grab those out. So interesting. That is stunning. Stain quality on that is just, yeah. And I wonder. So now here's going to be the question: is that watertight when it's baked in? Because I have a feeling, since this is so acrylic-y, water-based, it's more likely to be waterproof once it's baked in. You can experiment on the little dollop. Let's try. I'll set these elsewhere. Oh, wait, don't lose the dollop. Come back here, dollop. We need you, dollop. All right, so moment of truth. What happens if I... It works! It's not going nowhere. Okay, I'm pretty sure, now that we've already done most of them before we baked, I'm pretty sure we're going to find that it's better to colorize it pre-bake because it might end up working a little bit like acrylic paint and actually setting into the clay. And like I said, if we're not going to rub that as a piece of jewelry because the color is all set down in there. So we probably are safe without, but unless it's not water fast. But if it's actually water fast, none of that color left. So that's going to be the question between, I almost want to put the baked ones back into bake. Just stick that on a piece of paper and throw them back in just to heat up. I'll check them on this tile. Let's see if that doesn't help set the color anyway. Check them back in. But yeah, so I will get all this stuff baked up and come back in a little bit and show you what's happening because I have no idea how this is all going to turn out. But at the moment, God, that's pretty. I like that elderberry color in there. A little tempted to start throwing it in all of them, but I don't want to do that because I know myself. If I put anything else anywhere else, I will ruin the whole thing. because that's just how it usually goes. Yeah, I'm quite incredibly pleased by the look of this. This is kind of epic. All right, guys, let me keep playing. Okie dokie, I am back again, and they're out of the oven, and they're stinking absolutely out of this world gorgeous. Like, these are seriously amazing. I absolutely love the way these stains are working out for this. So this is the guy. Like I said, I wanted to dome him, and I like it. So it's got that much curvature to it. And I'm thinking I'm either gonna just loop a cord around it or use a bunch of big jump rings maybe. That's another thought I had, but probably just loop a cord around this one because it's just got such a rustic appeal. But I like the amount of dome. I like the little bit of multi-tonality in the inside. Probably give it this light sanding in there just to kick the sheen. But I think it goes about like that. And there's the tiniest bit of gloss in a couple spots. I wonder what causes that little bit of gloss. Because it's not consistent. So, there's a tiny sheen of gloss. All right. So it does have it's not quite matte, but it has a matte feel to it. Yeah, I like it. So these are the sets that we finished. Sorry, we colorized, then baked. These are the ones we baked and then colorized. Make sure you guys are getting them all in there. Let me get to that's the good setting for looking at stuff. So I'm thinking the color might be the teensiest bit brighter if it's baked on raw clay rather than painted in after. And to be honest, there you are. I don't think those have as much sheen either. Wow, that's so pretty though. These are gonna make some epic little earrings. And to be honest, I still kind of like this Bext where all the colors just merged. It's really pretty. Wait, this was first. This was baked on raw clay. That's right. Because that was our trial piece and this little guy. That's right. Those were both baked on raw clay. These were baked first, then colorized. These were colorized, then baked. And they're still just the tiniest bit warm. So I don't want to start messing with trying to clean those off. And so one question I still have, I just want to test this out to make sure. Let's find a nice little stiffish brush. That one's got some good stiffness to it. I'm going to do soaking wet and see if I can get any color off of this. And no, there's absolutely no color coming off of that. So appears as though these are finished, which is nice because I did not want to have to go in and seal them. Granted, I could work a little bit of a clear liquid clay would probably work really nicely to seal those and give it more of a little bit of a how we say, like a ceramic type finish. And I could do it on one set just for curiosity's sake, but to be honest, I just really like the way these came out and I don't want to do any of that. Again, that's the artist thing. Stop while you're ahead. Just let it be. It's perfect. Leave it. Yeah, so I think that's where I'm gonna call this video, and I will finish these up and maybe I'll actually go ahead and finish a couple pieces and show you how they look all the way done. I never finish jewelry, but unless I'm going to wear it, and I probably will wear a set or two of these. Oh, by the way, this still ended up a little darker in the purple tone than I wanted. So I liked what happened here, and I might have to watch the video back and see. I think I just got this wetter and it dispersed more because it's just a little too intense with the dark purple there. I'm not saying it's wrong, but I was hoping for that softer effect. So, or maybe I bet I mixed more of that, this guy, that sun bleached. I bet I mixed some of the sun bleached into this one. So yeah, that's where I missed a little, but I love how the layers of coloring ended up. So some of the colors got all the way deep and then some of it heaped up the edges of the depth. Let me go sideways so you can see what I'm talking about. So the purple's all the way deep and then the teal's up the edge. And yeah, fascinating. And again, just for depth reference, these things are deep, especially these guys, the jumbos. Those are enormously deep. Extra large, deep but not obnoxious. And then the smalls are surprisingly full of deep detail, even though they're so small. But yeah, all right, so I'm going to, I'll finish up a few and I'll bring you guys back up. Because if I don't have pressure to finish stuff, I will never finish anything. So I appreciate you guys for that. I'll be back with a few finished. Okay, working on finishing these. I figured I'd bring you in and show you a little bit of my process. So this still needs a little sand on the back. And this is like a 60 grit sanding block. And for this particular, trying to get this level across the back, I like having something bigger than the pieces to work on. And so it just gives me a nice big flat edge. And then these guys are, I think, like 80 and 120 grit. And these you just find on Amazon. They're just for pedicures and manicures, actually. And they sell them in big old blocks of 20 or 50 or 100 or whatever. And they don't last very long, but they're small enough that it's actually kind of nice to be able to just chuck them as soon as they get a little ratty. So this one's a little bit bigger. So I use both sides of that. And then this is like a, I don't know, 180, 240, something like that. I'll have to look at them. Basically, because this is curved, just working around it, both sides. And by the time you get to the end of the second one of these, it's polished up with just a nice, smooth little feel. And I want to make sure that I get the inside of, okay, yeah, that'll take a little bit. Softer grit. I don't need full grit on that side. I've already done that with the heavy grit. I just want to make sure what's up against, potentially up against your skin has a nice soft, oops. I also like that these have just enough of a grit difference that you can usually tell which side's which by just thumbing it. So yeah, so that has a nice little polished edge up against your skin, so that's a lot better. And like I said, normally, and so this is the thing about baking on tile, is you tend to get some pitting and some funky shine. Sometimes I like the effect. Sometimes it's just right for the piece. On these, because we're not doing anything with gloss, I don't want any of the shine. If I wanted to be extremely particular, I could absolutely just run out a thin layer of clay, texturize it, and back this piece. But I'm not going for an overly heavy. I just want a cute little pendant to slip on with this one. And then these are the matching earrings. I just did that with the, I need a little polish. It likely will be against skin, so it's already so thin. The other option to clear out those pits is just keep sand until you get down to level, but I'm not going to do that on this. Like I said, these aren't particularly for sale. They're just because I want something out of this set, which is usually the only reason anything ever gets finished. I've got a dozen things I want to finish myself. I still haven't gotten to yet, but I was smart. I just start selling the unfinished components to you all. Etsy side gig. Yeah. Doop. The one nice thing about not having any pressure on my creativity is there's no pressure on my creativity. I make the rollers because I want to, and then I sell them to you guys after I've done what I want to do with having made them. And then otherwise, I don't have to like create everything I sell, which for me, I've run into trouble. I've tried selling paintings. I've tried selling a bunch of stuff. And to be honest, it just, as soon as there's pressure or forced to create, I tend to lock up or lose interest. Where playing with the polymer clay, I've been doing this for a handful of years now. And mostly it's about the creativity and the adventure of figuring things out. And, oh, what about this idea? And, oh, what about that next idea? And because I'm not trying to make a living out of it, I have so much more freedom to be creative. However, I don't have any pressure to finish anything unless I want to wear it. So that's a hit or miss. All right. So we're all sanded up. We're drilled. I've got all my places. Because this is the easiest, I'll just show you this first. So basically I take these are a little bit longer than my usual ones. Again, just an Amazon find. This nice, easy little cord. They usually come in 2 lengths. I like the longer ones for this. Okay, so I like having clasp in the right hand. When you're wearing this, it's going to go that way. So start this right, start at the fold, and then you go under and loop it through. And you could do it just like that, but you run into a lot of movement if you do it just like that. So you open these, open that back out, grab your clasp, and bring it back through again. Then you end up with a double lock. You guys can see that. And then I liked these flowers for placement on that. So I'm just going to shimmy it ever so slightly. And I want to keep that braided look. So there, just like that. So that is done. Easy. Easy peasy. Now for earrings, I'll pull out the ones in my ears. Started making my own earring hooks because I need a bigger round here. And I like being able to put whatever gem or stone or whatever I want to throw in there just to give it a little bit of bling. And I like the way that balances out. So I don't like the placement on regular off the rack earring hooks. So I need my whole, especially if I'm going to need longer ones for these, I think. So I'm going to start here. So I usually start with the round for the hole. And that's going to be probably, out of my options here, it's probably going to be this guy for the set, because I need it just to be plenty big enough that has a completely free feel to it. So I just line that up, bring it around, find the end of it, and as close to that edge as possible, and bring it back up. So that gives me a relatively nice round little shape to that. Okay, and then I'm going to match the other guy. So bringing you around, snug it. Oops, don't pull the rest of that wire. It's nice and snug it around. And then find almost the outer edge. Not much, just a little bit tighter. There we go. All right. Reverse it. Sorry guys, I'm so not used to doing this on camera. It's my first time doing any jewelry making on camera, and of course, there's always a learning curve to everything. All right. I like that. I'm just going to grab these guys and kind of, yeah. All right, so that will fit in there. And there is plenty of room. I'll take these little guys and just bring those back to meet. Sure. Oh, just so you know the wire I'm using. Sorry, let me get back to the beginning. This works really nicely. It's coated, so it isn't likely to tarnish or get all funky on you. I haven't been wearing this long. I just got a set off of Michael's or Amazon or something that I'd been using before, but I decided to upgrade my wire in case I do end up selling any of this stuff with the handmade. And it's a tarnish resistant, and it's coated, so it's not as likely to cause trouble as far as, reactions on skin because of the metal composition or any of that stuff. And then these little pieces are cut at 2.5 inches. And I couldn't remember if it was 2.5 inches or 2 1/4 that I like for my normal So we will find out shortly. I want to make sure that that's coming relatively straight up. And because it's a smaller bead than usual, if it is 2.5, it still might be too short. And then I'm just going to take a little grab right here and try to get it a good little fold right at that bead. And I accidentally slightly messed up my loop, so I'm going to open just a touch and line you back up. And I'm just bringing it down just a hair so you're a little more loop-like. Okay. And let me see if I can't get just a touch more fold here without distorting my loop. Sorry. Trying, guys. Okay, there's a lot of fold there, but that's fine. Okay. So now I'm going to take the biggest one of these. And I'm going to stick you into there. And I like the biggest one because that gives me a little bit easier time getting my alignment. So I'm looking at this from above, and I want to make sure that my circle is aligned with the center of that. And then we roll that out the back. And I am going to say, oh no, these beads are so small, I don't think they're going to hold. So what I might do is I might throw just a dollop of resin in there or super glue or something just to kind of get it to stay put, because I can't get a tight enough fold there to keep it from trying to leave. I'm going to grab a little thinner here just to let that turn a little more quickly. Back up. I'm trying to not break that fold. Eek. Okay. Not my best job ever. Not seamless. Oh well. All right. Let's go back to my big round and see if I can't round that back up. Okay. And then, yes, I think this is a 1/2 inch too long. So I'm just going to have to remember that that wants to fall off and not sell this pair. Yeah. Oh, it's about a 1/4 inch too long. So let me find my snippers. Those are my snippers. I'm gonna just snip off that last 1/4 inch. Oop. And that ran off somewhere. Yeah, of course. Let's go ahead and snip off a 1/4 inch on these. Yes, I have my base mat is it's got measurements on it. So underneath my little silicone guy, I have a base mat that has measurements, so it makes it easy for me to just snip little things like that. Okay, so this is nicely in position. Let's find my other bead. Oh my goodness, I am so losing these beads like immediately. And even without the beads, it's still a pretty shape. But I think I might go ahead and just glue those in. Or a little dollop of resin, like I said. Yeah, so like I was saying before, I like these rounds to be just big enough that these can have a lot of room to move, so they don't tend to get bound up. So that's why I like that bottom circle to be so nice and big. Okay, the shape there. Throw its little beady bob on. As tightly as this. You know what? Let me just do this right away. I'm going to put just the tiniest dollop of resin. That might be too much dollop of resin. Let me take a little bit of that off. Doop. Drop the bead into it and find my little light and go, ta-da! Bead stay put. Just leave you sitting there 1/2 second and do the same thing to this bead. Tiniest little dollop. It likes to dollop too much. Always have a paper towel handy when you're playing with resin. Slip it into position and flashlight in place. All right. Side quest accomplished. Yep, that's going nowhere. you are going nowhere. It's not quite as bead shaped, but it's got a little extra shine. And it's staying put. That's the important part. Okay, so now we want to take this back and fold the wire just past the bead to the front again, hopefully without messing up. Let me find my other little skinny guys and just hold that. So it's got a nice little there. And then we're going to take the big guys and probably going to have to put that bend back in it in a minute. But we got the big guys, got that evened out, and we roll those around. Oh, and then I'm going to just nab these again somewhere. I want it to curve more that shape. And just give it a little turn. There we go. So it actually needs just the tiniest bit less bend because I want that, there we go. I want the toppest edge of the hook to fall in line with all the rest of it. So let's see how similar in shape we are. I don't think I turned out this one as much at the tip. So it's, but yeah, the shape's just fine. This one needs just the tiniest bit better turnout on the tip. So I cut it after. And then you can take that heavy, that big fat sanding block and just kind of touch, 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 touch. Make sure that you don't have too much sharp there. Yeah, definitely if these were a set for sale, I would finish the box. But personally, I like wearing them where they're just super light and you barely notice they're there. So this weighs almost nothing. And I like that little touch of bronze accent. Yep, so that will work there. So I think I'm going to go, I could either just use a jump ring and then hang it after that. But I don't like that look because it becomes too many loops and joins. Although it might be really pretty to do these off of a, let me see what I got. Those are heavy. So I'm almost thinking it might be better off if we did them off of something like these guys. And then I'll give it just a little bit of shine and use a nice big fat jump ring. So another question is, do I have jump rings that big? And of course I had to change. I mean, I can make my own. I think that would fit. Or I can go see what I have. I'm trying to remember where jump rings got stored. All right, I found the multi-pack. Because I'm thinking we're going to want the biggest ones here because we still, like I said, the main goal is we want these to have, and that should be big enough. We want these to have a lot of freedom to dangle and move without getting hung up and turned all around. Yeah, so that will work. That is big enough. Then the question is this going to be too short? Okay. Oh, and I did already sand these guys back a little bit ago, just so you know. This before I got to making the video. Get you happy and lined up. Oh, my food timer's thing. All right, I'm going to do one more. Oh yeah, that is pretty. Yep, and I think it's just the right amount. So I'm going to swing that around the back. Although I don't think I want to, like I said, I want some movement. You know what, I might go ahead and just, again, use my handy again. This is what I've come to using lately. I tend to go through spells where I just try everything and then land on something. Nice tiny little dollop. I know, I'm sorry, I should be doing this zoomed. Just going to roll that into the hole. And then I'm going to hit it with my little handy dandy blue light, which ran away from me. There we go. That's the top, not the button. There we go. And then just blue light it in there. So that stays put. I want to make sure it's relatively upright. And I don't think we're going to get an absolute hold on placement in here. But I do just want to make sure that that gives it the opportunity to be kind of less likely to pop open. Okay. And like I said, this is a nicely finished piece. It's got a nice rich back. Oh yeah, that's good. So yeah, that will hold. That will stay put. And it's got a pretty little hanging hook to it. I'll grab one more of these guys again. And again, jump rings are just Amazon find or Temu. I have started, especially with having my own little, American-made shop kind of thing. I started trying to discourage myself from doing the Chinese cheap thing just because I feel like we should be supporting each other in our Makerverse. Oh, I didn't put gotta put the hook in. Hold on. Just need a little loop. Oops. But yeah, I feel like we should be trying to, support each other in small business ventures rather than, Amazoning and Temuing everything and making it about the cheapest version rather than making it about the best version. So I am trying, but I still have tons of Temu stuff. So it will be used until it's gone. Why am I struggling here? Because I'm on camera. It's always the way of it, isn't it? My food alarm's going off. Actually, I should probably go check that and make sure that I don't burn breakfast. But I just want to get this silly thing on. Ha! Almost. Oh, come on. The other one fit just fine. Don't even tell me you're not going to work. Ha! I win! I win! Alrighty. Sorry. Kind of like these pliers because they have that little spot in them that lets you kind of power it over to you that way. Around like that's out the back. I'm still being just a little quirky about wanting to line up. You can do it. All right, and then I'm going to a little dollop of resin. Very, very, very small little dollop. Come on, just get to the top of the bottle. Oh, too much. Okay. Always keep a paper towel handy when I'm playing with resin. Stoosh, 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 stoosh. Don't go anywhere stupid. Oh my goodness, guys. Again, back to the creative arts. Know when to stop. This is one of those times. Just go take the pee break and deal with your stuff instead of trying to force a resolution. Whoop, okay, stay. Pivot. And sit. Just there you go. and stay very upright. I'm actually going to hang it down so that I get the most likely to be uprightedness. And then I could just put these in my UV lamp, but I don't have it set out. Easy access, so it is what it is. Ta-da! Alrighty. So that's that. I'm going to get my breakfast out of the oven and go pee and be right back to finish that last necklace piece. Be right back. Okie dokie. So now to this one. And got a very small hole on that. That goes with these earrings. A bit of me wants to try a little something. Where did... Oh, yep, those little brass beads came from this set. I just want to see if that's why I always struggle, is when I make the earrings too pretty and then the necklace ends up plainer. I always want to do something to kind of fancy it back up. But I haven't gotten very good at my own wire wrapped bezels, and I don't need to complicate finishing things any more than I already do, because we definitely don't need me finishing less pieces. I don't know the gauge of this wire or the size of this hole. Oh, it does fit. Okay. So here's kind of what I was thinking, is because those have a little bead on them. What if I do it like, I think it will work. I think that will be cute. Don't you come off. You stay. Be good. Huh. And my mama dog's out there screaming at something again. Now, her problem in life right now is she is the queen of the house. And she can't play queen because she's got to take care of the babies. So she thinks she hears something. She's like, Mom, check it. Mom, that needs attention. Okay. So, yeah, I think that will work. So now the question is, do we... I almost want to just put that under and glue it on by glue. Resin it in place. Sorry if I lost you guys again. Apologies. Tap. And fall into position. And yeah, my food wasn't quite done yet, so I set the timer again. No, you can do it. Oh, no. Did you go too far? I think so. Just stay right about there over the end and do flashy bulb. Okay. Okay, and then my next thought was, in order to make sure that that stays relatively the way we want it, I kind of want to come in here with these guys. These guys are epic. Watch. They stay level with each other. Will it fit in there? Oh, and there's the flaw. It was such a perfect plan until it wasn't. All right, something wider. So I'm going to support the shape that I want, and I'm going to squeeze it to something that can go wider. Oh, nope, we're spinning. Stay level. Stay put. Stay at the top of things. Let's see if I can get those to squeeze downward. Just aiming to give it a peak. And I wish those padded ones would actually open wide enough for this, because I'm trying to just turn this slightly more oval so that it's more likely to maintain the shape that I want it to. But I don't want anything with grip or lines in it because I don't want it to mar up the... I think that might just coming out of there, but I think it'll still hold. All right, I think we got enough shape to that. So yeah, I think that'll be cute. And that does work. I think I might... Could drop a dollop of glue right there. Glue, resin right there too. Let's try to not do too much this time. Oh, perfect. Slide you into there. And hit you with the flashy bulb. Make sure you're upright because that's going to matter. There we go. All right. I'm actually really happy with how that turned out. But yeah, so kind of the way I work typically is it's all an experiment. And once I know how to do something, I rarely come back and do it again, which is why you guys don't exactly get tutorials from me. It tends to be more of a, hey, let's see if we can make this work and do something cool. Because once I know something works, I'm probably going to try something else next time. But to be honest, I like that. That is a really pretty finish. So I can string that onto any chain I want. And chain, I usually like to use the light cords. Let's see what's on my neck right now. Matches the earring set that I was wearing. So this guy, and I like the neutral tones lately. It used to be I'd always go to black for my cord hangers, but lately it's been more neutral tones that match the mood of the piece I'm making. And most of my pieces lately have been more on the neutral side. But yeah, so this set there, that or this can go with these guys. And I really do like that little accent of that little bead. That's really pretty. Probably would have worked with one of my little crystal gems I like to use too. But, and then these guys go with that. So that is the finish of this project. And I am super, super, super duper pleased with the way these all came out. And happy to have shared the process with y'all. Hopefully my playing around and fumbling and making silly mistakes helps you guys realize that that's life. But no matter how awkward it is, amazing stuff usually still comes out at the end. So perfection is not necessary. Fun is. So anyway, I hope you all have a wonderful day, and I will see y'all on the next one. I gotta go get my breakfast out of the oven. Actually, I'm making messes of things trying to put stuff away. Forget it. I'll see y'all later. Have a good one.